When you picture a Viking victory, what comes to mind? Probably wild-eyed warriors, maybe foaming at the mouth, winning through just sheer uncontrollable rage. But that's not the whole story. In fact, that kind of chaos is a great way to lose a battle, not win one. The real secret to how a small band of Vikings could reportedly shatter an army much larger than its own wasn't chaos. It was simple, brutal geometry. They used a battle formation that could turn basic physics into a terrifying weapon. It was a tactic so effective, it's a stunning example of convergent thinking. The ancient Romans had come up with a remarkably similar idea centuries earlier. So, what was this battlefield weapon that helped make the Vikings so feared? Let's be honest. The image of the berserker is awesome. A warrior consumed by a trance-like fury, biting his shield, maybe even immune to pain. And while elite shock troops who used intimidation definitely existed, they weren't the backbone of the Viking army. Thing is, relying on pure rage is a terrible military strategy. It's exhausting, unpredictable, and breaks unit cohesion, the single most important factor in ancient warfare. An army of individuals, no matter how ferocious, is likely to be defeated by a disciplined force that fights as one. The Vikings' reputation for savagery hides the fact that they could be a surprisingly organized and disciplined fighting force. This discipline was the key to unlocking their true advantage. So, what was this advantage? It might have been a wedge-shaped offensive formation, known from later sagas as the Svinfylking, which translates to boar's snout. The name, which later legends connect to the god Odin himself, perfectly describes how it's thought to have worked. The idea, as we understand it from these sources, was this. A group of the best armed and most experienced warriors would form the sharp point of a triangle, with the ranks fanning out behind them to create a living spearhead. The goal was simple and devastating: to avoid engaging the entire enemy line at once, and instead, to punch a single hole straight through it. This formation was both a physical and psychological weapon. For the defenders, it wasn't a line of men coming at them, but a single terrifying point aimed right at their chest. So why was a wedge so good? Well, you have to look at what it was up against: the shield wall. A shield wall was the standard defensive formation of the era, a line of warriors standing shoulder to shoulder with their shields overlapped. It was a human fortress, brilliant at absorbing widespread pressure and protecting the men inside. But it had a critical weakness. Like a dam, it's strong when force is distributed, but vulnerable to a focused impact. The Svinfylking wasn't trying to shove the whole wall back. It was designed to act like a nail. The concentrated pressure at the tip of the wedge would have been immense. Once the first one or two defenders in the enemy line buckled, a gap would open. That's when the wedge would surge forward, fanning out from within the enemy's own ranks and shattering their formation from the inside. The organized shield wall would collapse into a chaotic mess of individual duels, a situation that favored the ferocious, close-quarters fighting skills many Viking warriors were known for. The battle was often won the moment that line broke, and here's where history gets really interesting. The Vikings weren't the first to discover this tactical concept. Centuries earlier, the Roman legions had faced a similar problem: how to crack dense enemy lines. Their solution, which they called the cunning, or wedge, was strikingly similar. Roman commanders would order the cunnium format, and their legionaries would form a triangular spearhead to break an enemy formation. This is a powerful example of convergent military evolution. Two of history's most effective fighting forces, separated by centuries and with no direct connection, arrived at a similar geometric answer to the same tactical problem. It suggests that the boar's snout wasn't some mystical Viking trick. It was a brutally practical solution, a smart application of discipline and focused force. So, the next time you picture Vikings in battle, don't just imagine wild-eyed rage. Picture cold, hard geometry, Picture the discipline it must have taken for men, who were often farmers and tradesmen, to hold a tight formation under terrifying pressure. They didn't just win because they were berserkers, they won because they were smart. They understood that a small focused force could shatter a larger one, that unity and strategy were more powerful than chaos, and that sometimes the deadliest weapon on the battlefield is a simple shape. What do you think is the most misunderstood aspect of Viking history? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoy deep dives into ancient military strategy, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.